If you always attract toxic people, then stop whatever you're doing and listen to this first. Because what I'm about to tell you might finally explain years of confusion, stress, and emotional exhaustion that you've been carrying on your shoulders without even realizing it. Most people think toxic relationships are just bad luck, or a coincidence, or something that just happens. But the truth is way deeper than that. And once you understand it, you will never look at your connections the same way again. And before we go further, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to FinancialRealityOffical so you never miss videos that actually help you grow emotionally, mentally, and financially. Because once you learn how to stop attracting toxic people, every part of your life gets better. Your peace, your confidence, your decisions, even your money. Everything. Now, let's get real for a moment. If toxic people keep showing up in your life, it's not because you're weak, it's not because you're naive, and it's definitely not because you deserve it. It's usually because somewhere along the way, you learn to normalize behaviors that should have been major red flags. And this happens to a lot of people without them even noticing. Maybe you grew up around people who were unpredictable, moody, emotionally unavailable, or just plain difficult. Maybe you learned to walk on eggshells early. Maybe you learned to stay quiet, to keep the peace. Maybe you learned to shrink yourself just to avoid conflict. And when those patterns sit in your subconscious for years, they create a blueprint that toxic people recognize instantly. It's almost like you're broadcasting a signal without even knowing it. Not because you want negativity, but because your mind is familiar with it. And humans naturally repeat what feels familiar, even when it hurts. Sometimes you attract toxic people because you're a giver. You're empathetic. You feel things deeply. You see the good in people, even when they don't show it. And toxic people love that. They see kindness as a door they can walk through whenever they want. They see empathy as something they can drain. They see your loyalty as something they can use. But here's the twist: your kindness is not the problem. Your empathy is not the problem. The problem is that no one ever taught you how to protect those qualities. No one taught you boundaries. No one taught you how to say no without feeling guilty. No one taught you that your peace should never be the price you pay to keep other people comfortable. Think of it like this. Toxic people are like magnets for open hearts that don't have enough armor. And if you've been attracting them repeatedly, it means your heart is open, unprotected, and giving energy to people who only know how to take. And the craziest part? Toxic people usually know they're toxic. They may not say it out loud, but they know exactly who they can get away with their behavior around. They test you early: small disrespect, small comments, small manipulations, and if you don't push back, they go further. Not because you're weak, but because you're trained to tolerate the intolerable. And I want you to think about something. Every person you've allowed into your life, good or bad, has taught you something. Even the toxic ones, especially the toxic ones. They teach you what your boundaries should have been. They teach you what red flags look like. They teach you what to never tolerate again. So instead of blaming yourself, start asking, what did this experience teach me about myself? What did it show me about the areas I need to heal? Because healing is the real solution. Not changing other people. Not hoping toxic people suddenly become better. Not waiting for them to treat you right. Healing is the only thing that breaks the pattern. But healing starts with awareness. And awareness starts with honesty. So be honest with yourself. Do you attract toxic people because you avoid confrontation? Because you think if you stay quiet, everything will be fine? Do you attract them because you over-explain, over-apologize, or over-give? Do you attract them because you fear abandonment, or because deep down you don't want to upset anyone? When you don't want to upset anyone, toxic people see you as the easiest target in the room. And that's exactly why things need to change, and will change starting today. Let me tell you a small story to illustrate this. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. The glass is fine. The water is clear. But over the years, people throw tiny drops of ink into it. One person adds insecurity. One adds guilt. One adds fear. One adds manipulation. One adds self-doubt. And after a while, the water isn't clear anymore. It's cloudy. But you're so used to looking through it that you don't even notice it. Not normal. Then someone new comes along also carrying their own ink, and you let them pour more into your glass because it feels familiar. That's how toxic patterns repeat. Not because you want them to, but because subconsciously, you've been conditioned to tolerate what should have never been acceptable. Now imagine taking that glass and slowly pouring it out, cleaning it, filling it with fresh water again, clear and new. That's what self-awareness does. That's what healing does. That's what setting boundaries does. It resets the blueprint so you stop attracting what hurts you and start attracting what supports you. When your energy changes, your relationships change automatically. When your standards rise, the people who can't meet them disappear. And trust me, losing toxic people is not a loss, it's a massive upgrade. Something else people rarely talk about is how toxic people often sense when you're leveling up. When you start valuing yourself, when you start healing, when you start setting boundaries, they panic. They act confused. They say things like, "You've changed," or "Why are you acting different?" But the truth is, you didn't change. You finally stopped allowing the behavior they benefited from. And people who gain from your lack of boundaries always complain when you finally create them. And here's the part that might surprise you. The moment you stop attracting toxic people, life becomes quieter at first. You might feel lonely. You might question yourself. You might think, was I the problem? Or why is no one around now? But that quiet phase is necessary. It's like clearing the soil before planting something new. And during that quiet phase, something powerful happens. You start meeting healthier people. People who respect your time. People who communicate clearly. People who don't punish you for having feelings. People who don't twist your words. People who don't drain your energy. People who treat you the way you've always treated others, with kindness and respect. And when that shift happens, you realize it was never about being unlovable or attracting the wrong ones on purpose. It was about healing the parts of you that didn't know how to protect your peace. And when your peace becomes your priority, everything else realigns. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video from Financial Reality. I want you to pay attention to how you feel around people. Not what they say, not what they promise, but how they make you feel. If you feel anxious, drained, uncomfortable, or confused around someone, that's not connection, that's a warning. Healthy people bring clarity, not confusion. Peace, not chaos. Support, not exhaustion. Your body knows the truth, even when your heart wants to give someone the benefit of the doubt. And as we get close to the end of this video, I want you to share something in the comments. Tell me, what's one boundary you need to set this year? Or what's one thing you realized today about your patterns? Your comment might help someone else who's going through the same thing. And if you found this helpful, make sure you share this video with someone who needs it, because you never know, your share might be the thing that finally wakes them up. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to FinancialRealityOffical for more content that helps you grow stronger, smarter, and emotionally unstoppable. Because remember, you don't attract toxic people because something is wrong with you. You attract them because something inside you has been unprotected for too long. But once you learn how to protect your peace, you stop being a magnet for toxicity and start becoming a magnet for people who see your worth. Your next chapter starts with one decision: choosing yourself. And when you make that choice, everything changes.